So my favorite position here is we call it supported fish posture. And we do it all the time. All right. So this is how we're going to get changed, right? That repetition in the body. So I'm going to take that block. First one, my hips stay on the floor, slowly placing my shoulder blades on the block. And my second block is for my head here. Okay, now say this is too much, right? You can just roll up a blanket. So for those of us who this is too aggressive, you could use a pillow. Just notice it's not under my lower back arch here. It's not under my hips. It's underneath my ribs, my shoulder blades. It's like underneath my chest, okay? Second block is for your head. I do want those arms to kind of go wide. If you want a little extra for the inner thighs, you can, but if you're gonna do this, you have to kind of reposition again. You don't want the block kind of sliding towards your lower back, all right? If anything, I'd rather have it mistaken too high up toward the neck, but it's also not underneath my neck here, yogis. I know sometimes it's hard to see here, the lighting, my clothing, but one block for your head, one block for your chest. All right, now that you're getting comfortable, close your eyes. Let's relax for a few moments here. So remember, guys, flexibility, it is a strong approach to the body. So don't be shy to, skip some things. I'll try to mention easier variations for all stretches. But, stretch class is sometimes, thought of as easy yoga, but it's really not. It is challenging to the body. So, when in doubt, be easy. Let's not overstretch or overstrain here. Now that you're kind of relaxed in your position, let's start with some breath work. So a slow, nice deep inhale in the nose. As you inhale, feel the belly lift. Okay, and as you exhale, you feel your abdomen lower. Remember the vagus nerve, right? This big nerve, it's a cranial nerve. It comes straight from your brain center, let's say, right? And it's connected to like your parasympathetic. So these kind of healing brain centers, and it touches every part of your digestive tract from your lips to your anus. And, we know that the vagus nerve has all these little things that extend and just touch everywhere in the abdominal cavity. So we want to try to bring the breath into the abdomen, the belly. As you inhale, you feel your abdomen lift, but it also expands kind of laterally. I'm a huge advocate of nasal belly breathing. Okay. Mouth breathing tends to do a lot of different things to our nervous system, our hormones, the brain chemistry and function. We want to try to breathe in and out the nose, not only in yoga class, but throughout our day, when we sleep. It can really change many things. It can change the structure of your skull. It can change how your jaw sits. It can change how your teeth are. Mouth breathing has been, in children, is associated with teeth like spreading apart and moving forward and back. And nasal breathing, when we keep the jaw closed, the jaw strength, and the tongue to the top of the mouth, those muscles start to hug the teeth together in more alignment. That's a whole long story. I'm getting off track here. So last few breaths here, guys. Remember to have some fun in your flexibility class. I don't mind if you switch it up. If we're doing a hamstring stretch, you want another one, that's fine with me, all right? So remember, this is a big spinal extension, an arch in your back we're creating. We're also kind of tractioning the lumbar. The back of your lower spine is kind of being pulled long. So we don't really want to hold this too long. We're already at about 5 minutes or so. That's a pretty good start for the average person. As you get better, you can hold longer, but we don't want to overdo it. I tend to teach towards the newer people or someone who's sore or something, okay? You want to use your hands to bring your knees back together. You want to take your hands behind your head after that, kind of lift your head with your hands. Then you can tense your neck muscles to hold your head up. Then you use your core and your arms to sit up. So you kind of use your arms to assist the knees, the head, and then the sit up, okay? Because you're tensing after a big stretch. All right, and then right after that, guys, let's sit on our back. Let's lay on our back. Notice I get those props out of there. I have them handy. And just take a moment here just to kind of let your spine settle. You can kind of notice sometimes that, you know, we didn't do a test here first, but you can kind of feel that your lower back might get a little flatter, particularly it's like your upper lower back. You might notice a little change there, okay? Let's start with a nice moving warm-up. Breathing, moving, stretching, nice and slow, okay? Big inhale. Let's reach our arms to the back of the room. So I'm stretching I have some weird sun here coming in my house, but big stretch here to the back of the room, and then boom, exhale, knees into the chest. And I want you to kind of feel your body out. I'm wiggling my toes, rolling out my ankles. We always need some type of just feeling out your body in the beginning of class. I'm drawing some circles with my knees. And then I'm drawing circles. Look at this with the kind of knees individually. That's very different. I'm just getting some movement in. I'm starting to bend and straighten my knees a little bit. I might even throw my legs up and shake it out. Flexibility, right? We're trying to find release. It doesn't have to be a stretch, okay? I'm engaging my legs a little stronger now because they're waking up. And then I'll do one more movement here in this first initial warm-up. Feet go a little wider, arms go a little wide, and then it's windshield wiping of the knees. See how both knees go left? Both knees go center and then right. So from this angle, you can see maybe better. I'm going here. See that? And I want you to get into that. You know, you go to about 10 to 15 per side. And it might feel good to kind of pause and take a breath. I'll give you direction, but make sure that you listen to what your body tells you, and based on what you're listening and feeling, you kind of change it up a little bit. That is such a fantastic little exercise there. So don't forget to do that one regularly, okay? So our next movement here is a little bit more structured. Bigger movement, okay? So you can start with your legs forward. And we do this one a lot. I'm gonna reach my arms back. I'm gonna exhale my right knee into my chest. I do wanna move though, okay? Because that's blood flow. I slowly slide my heel forward, arms back to stretch my underarms. Then I'll go here, left knee into the chest. There's no like perfect timing. Again, it's kind of a mix of movement and stillness. See, I'm kind of flexing and pointing my toe. And then boom, full body stretch. We're gonna go back to our right side. And you wanna try to get to somewhere between 3 and 6 times per side, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. Left side. You know, not only, this is good for blood circulation, so, you know, the vascular, cardiovascular system. It's good for your lymph. There's a big concentration of lymph nodes right in the center thigh area. Okay, squeeze, and I'm just basically alternating side to side. I can go a little faster if it feels good. You got to kind of engage your core, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, that's kind of like, if you're doing like a sport warm-up, they do this thing called high knees, where you kind of like go like this. It's similar in a sense, where we're flexing our hips, right? We're bringing that knee up, you know, and it's common that we do it in yoga like this. You can see my knee is toward my shoulder, like a gentle warm-up lunge. You see that a lot in many forms, okay? Next warm-up is more for my back body. So in essence, we want our femur bone to go in the back of the pelvis. So my upper leg bone starts here, but I want to press my hands down, lower back down, feet down, lift my hips. It's called bridge, but I want to do it for a more warming up sense. So I'm going to think movement and massage my spine down, butt down, lift my hips, lower my spine down, hips down, lift my hips. And you want to do a few more, like, again, 6 to 15, okay? Don't go too fast. The idea is to kind of activate muscles before we stretch them, okay? It's a self-massage, right? It's kind of like foam rolling might do. The floor, as you lower down vertebrae by vertebrae, is pushing into those middle, lower back, and hip muscles. And, it's interesting when you're studying soft tissue release. You hear people the debate like, does foam rolling help you get more flexible? And there's people who say it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense, because I have countless times tried to touch my toes, foam on my hamstring, and then touch my toes after, and I can reach way further without any, stretch. So massage can be a really nice tool when you're trying to get flexible. And we just did our hips, that kind of windshield wipe, and then we kind of run up the spine. Okay, so now I want to do one more movement, yogis, and that's going to be it for our warm up. It's the twist. So if you want to use a pillow or something, that's fine. I'm going to take my pillow between my knees and drop them over. And we do this one a lot, okay? There are more aggressive approaches, but I want a nice big rotation for your core. Left arm's going to go up and over, and you don't have to go all the way. It's kind of like any exercise. You start with less range, exhale. I call you close that, and then inhale, you open. Okay, you twist from your core. But just notice I give a little gentle squeeze in my prop there if you have it. I mentioned going less range, so you twist like a little to start, and then you twist that into 2 more, and then you twist, full eventually. It's just like when you're squatting, like let's say you're squatting with weight. You do like that to start, right? You do a couple like that, it's like a third squat, and then you do a couple half squats, and then maybe after you kind of build the range, you activate, you might do a full squat. So the idea, guys, is to kind of warm up. Let's not challenge our flexibility necessarily yet. That's right around the corner, okay? So listen, yogis, that's a nice, good about maybe 12-minute warm-up. We do need to do our second side. I'm not going to have you hold the twist. That's coming. We are going to do our strap stretching. So knees, second side. Don't forget that you can kind of be like this here. I do want you to scoot your hips. So if your knees go to the left, you might want to scoot your hips a little to the right, so I'm nice and long. So in essence, you're kind of doing like this on your back. Okay. If you want to peek up at me, we'll do a similar thing like this often. It's similar, right? We're rotating, or we'll do it like this. It's kind of the same. We're going to find a way to repetitively rotate the spinal column, okay? Last few on this side, please. And I know, I see some of you are holding the stretch. I get it. Some days I just got to do that. We do that more so often, than not, right? So just kind of skipping that because you're going to see it in a moment here in your strap stretching. So if you didn't get the memo, you're going to need a strap. You don't have a strap, you grab a pair of sweatpants. You throw like the crotch area around, right? That works. Or you grab a belt. A beach towel works, right? You don't need a yoga strap. Okay, so really this is like such good stretching because your posture's not going to round, okay? Our head is going to stay over the shoulders, right over the spine. So I'm going to meet right back in neutral. I'm going to release my left leg, take my right knee into my chest. Remember we were here? Now what's called progressive. We build from what we did. Strap around the ball, the right foot. You guys know this one, classic. So good though. One thing I want to look out for is this hip, the right hip here. That's the leg that's up. It does want to kind of lift in a lateral tilt, so I can take my right hand, sneak my right thumb in my right hip crease, push my hip slightly forward, and turn my thigh muscle open a little bit. You just close your eyes and pull right down the middle. Couple breaths here, okay? Give me 1 sec, guys. I'll be right back. Go pee-pees. Go pee-pees. Go pee-pees. Nope. please. Now listen, yogis, don't do the other part yet. Do the second leg. So slowly, it's just like you would do splits and then do the second side. We're just gonna bring our left knee in and do our second side. Okay, couple breaths, please. Thanks, yogis. We're training our puppy to, we have these little bells that hang from our balcony, and she'll hit them with her nose or paw when she needs to go outside. So I gotta make sure I keep her training when she needs to go to the potty. So we're on our second side. If you're just joining, guys, we did a little warm up and we're here. It's so good. I've done this, right? I've done this. We've done rotations. You're always welcome to change it up if your body's kind of signaling it wants something. Don't forget left thumb and left hip crease, kind of not only pushing the whole hip forward, but rolling the hip kind of out a little too. Okay? Now, I want to do something a little different with our strap. We always do this, right? So I'm going to do that today in a different way. So let me show you what we're going to do. If you can't do what I'm about to do, I just want you to go back around your right foot, and then you're going to open it with your right hand. See that? We always do that. Let's try something new today. I'm going to take the strap. Now, I'm going to take that strap around my right foot. Now, I'm going to roll onto my left side, maybe pad my head, or just here or here. Now, you got to bend your bottom knee, and I got to reach kind of up the strap. See that? I have one of these straps. See how it has all these loops? These are really nice, a little bit different. And now today, I got to kind of lean forward towards my ribs. I'm not on my back. I'm almost on my side ribs, and then I pull the leg here, okay? If you don't want to do this, that's fine. I already told you it's okay to do the other part. If you're flexible, you just grab the toe. Look at my left thigh. It's not in front of me. I want to walk my left thigh more behind me. So I'll show you the other angle in a moment, and I'm going to pull here, okay? Now I'm pretty flexible. I make it look pretty easy. Last few breaths. From this angle, not here, here. We've done this once before on the Zoom Flex class. You see how my femur bone is still long here? The femur bone is your biggest upper leg bone right here, around the hamstring and the thigh. This mimics a straddle forward fold, like an inner thigh stretch, okay? It's a really good one. Second side, release. If it's too much, start on your back, throw it around the foot, left hand, open left foot wide. So if it's too much, you're here. If you're gonna try it, you're gonna roll into your right, pad your head, relax your neck. Again, my right knee's not in front of me. It goes more back like that, see that? And then I pull my left shin toward my left shoulder. You know me, I like to get you to try new things, guys, okay? It's not always about, how deep can we stretch or, repeat. It's really important actually to, in a sense, give your muscles a different taste at a very similar stretch. You never know, you might find a new favorite one. But sometimes it's just like a new food. It tastes funny at first, acquired taste, right? When I was young, when I was like a middle-aged adolescent, I used to hate blue cheese. And then I found myself 5 years later at night eating entire blocks of blue cheese on the couch at night, right? So you might develop a taste for something that tastes funny in the beginning, in the stretch. So don't write it out immediately, okay? It's important that we stay open-minded in exercise, because that's how our muscles grow, by the neuromuscular challenge. Okay, so nice job there. Get out of there. So our final kind of weird stretch here, then I'm going to give you the twist you all know and love. I'm going to see if you can do the pigeon here. Now, I do want you to be a little careful if you have sensitive knees. You know, people who run and really put a lot of force on the knee. I don't have sensitive knees. I've been pretty lucky with that. But it's a pigeon stretch here. Now, we do this one instead. Look at this. We do thread the needle. Now, what we're going to do tonight is with a strap. There are multiple variations. So I'm going to take my strap and loop it around my right foot. Now, I'm going to release my left leg. Now, here's what I have to be careful of. I do have to flex my right foot. Do you see this foot? I don't want to see how it's lazy here and I'm pulling the ankle and I can feel that in the knee. Activating muscles protect joints. So I engage the foot. Not only do I flex the foot, I pronate it too. And then I pull with my left hand, see here? And I gently push my right knee away. Gentle is the key word there. If you don't want to do that, do this. If you want to try something a little different, you know me, I give too many options. We go here. I have my strap wrapped around the back of my left hamstring in case I can't reach that well. So it's a different type of figure four. I've heard that like this, a lot of people have expressed that kind of, they feel that in the knee. There's a joint here called the tibia-fibular joint. It's like your two shin bones are connected by a ligament. And I know a lot of people aren't kind of very stable there. All right, so let's do our second side, either figure four or the strap Dodavasana, it's called in yoga. See this? See this? You know, even though figure four and that are in a sense the same stretch, just that subtle releasing of the bottom leg will change it. It'll change how it's affecting the tissues around that area to go into more of that hip extension. So that subtle change can be a nice, just different way to do it. And like, you know, say you want to do again, like there's a way, there's a stretch I like to do that we never get to do in this class because we don't have the proper kind of equipment. But the stretch I really like to do, if I could show you quick, it's this. You put your foot in a door frame and you keep inching your butt like past the door and you're like this. And then you can just like go like that. And it's a good way to like get a long yin stretch. My foot's up the door frame, my left leg and butt are sliding through the door. And then, you know, that's something I wish we could do in this class. We don't ever get to. On the opposite end, I like to have you lay on a bed and let your right leg hang off the bed. And that's going to be that opposite front, whereas the door frame is here. So, you know, the point is, it's like, there's a lot of ways to do this stuff, guys, and it keeps it more interesting. And it is, you're going to get different effects. You're going to be a little bit more well-rounded if you just take these small little changes. All right, guys, you're done there. I got my final stretch on our back with the strap. Now, it is the twist. You don't have to do it with this, but if you want the bigger variation, we're going to take the strap back around the right foot. I'm going to scooch my hips to the right. I'm going to release my left leg, and then I take that leg across. Now, you might want to rest your thigh, your inner shin on a pillow or a block. I do want to kind of reach my hips over to the right. Maybe even my left leg is crawling to the right a little bit. And then I reach my right arm out, and I pull and breathe. This is big stretching, guys, so be easy. In the really big flex classes, when people are really trying to push flexibility, the right arm reaches forward here. See this arm that's out? The left knee bends and right hand grabs left foot. This is really big stretching. Be easy. You know, in that stretch, you have spinal twist, pelvic tilt, spinal extension. You have adduction, straight leg splits. You have bent knee quadriceps. It's nuts what's happening in that form with the double bind, okay? Release the second bind, slowly unwind from your twist, bending the knee. Please take a moment to kind of just shake that out before you do your second side. We did a good amount of warm up, okay? Hip rotations, spinal rotations, hamstring activations, hamstring stretches, and then we go for the biggest one. Okay, strap around left foot, right hand takes the left foot across to the right. Then you gotta move your hips a little left, you gotta walk your right leg to the left too. Because in essence, what'll happen is you'll be laying like this and you won't even know it. So I said your hips, that bottom leg has to kind of crawl to make you look like that more. We don't want to curl into a little ball, yogis. We want to kind of spread out, stretch out, and expand everything. Okay, and then if you did the big crazy version, left hand reaches to right foot behind you. You know, when in doubt, strap stretching. I work with a gentleman, he's 81, he had back surgery years back, you know, lifetime golfer, bent over twisting 1,000 times a day, and he has like rods in his back and screws, and he wakes up every morning with pretty bad back pain, and we have him, you know, I have him do the bridges, I have him do his dead bugs, and then he does strap stretching twice through. He does do the quad stretch. Actually, we're gonna do a quad stretch shortly. And he said he has like no back pain. It does start to come back, and like after he's still works. He's like walking around all day, and then the back pain starts to come back. Stuff's tightening up, but you remember a good way to maybe help reduce some back pain if it's a lot of tense muscles. Now get out of there, guys. So please neutralize for a moment. Now that kept in flexion. It's 4 stretches where the hip flexors were shortened, the psoas. I want to do our restorative bridge. If you don't have one, a block, a pillow will work, but you got to be a little bit more kind of detailed of where that block is. So block goes under your butt, not your hips, right? You can see my lower back arch is still there. It's underneath my pants. It's not underneath my back, okay? There's that posture. Now, go slow if you're going to try this. It's often done very quickly. It's a really big stretch. I want to lower my block more towards my coccyx, so my lower hips, and then I keep my feet a little bit wide, and I start to slide my legs out. The idea, if you'll just give me a quick glance, we just had the legs up here, and then here, and then here, and here. Now, finally, the pelvis goes the most forward in space, where the legs were. Let's relax, a few more breaths. When in doubt, though, if it's any too much pain, you want to stay here, okay? You can always do this with 2 blocks. So here is a nice way to get a little bit more of a stretch. If you keep your feet there, it'll bring your hips a little higher. Deep breath, right? Now I do want to, let's be well-rounded, right? We did both inner thigh stretches are done, posterior and medial. One of the front body stretches is done in the hips. So both inner thighs are done. Both outer thighs are done too. We could say straight legs a third, but we can't do too much there. We have one more front hip stretch to do, and we're basically done with hips for class. So I'm going to challenge you today, since we got a small group of everyone who attends regularly. If you can't do what we're about to do, no worries. You're going to make your way off your block slowly. Our objective is to stretch our quadriceps. So it's the front of my upper leg. We just stretched my hip flexor. It's more like the front of my pelvis, psoas, TFL. So in essence, what we're going to do is this. But if you want to try it today, you could try it with a strap. It's not easy, but you could try it here. I got to put the strap around my foot. I bring the foot behind me, my knee back. I throw the strap around my right shoulder. I pad my head. I pull on the strap. I kind of latch it over my shoulder, okay? Now to get the stretch, I have to pull my belly in and my knee back, all right? And I kind of pull that strap more. If you want to go further, it looks like this. I'm on my chest. How do I get the stretch? I pull to the tight, but I push my pubic bone down more. If you don't want to do any of that, very similar, we've done many times. Here, right hand to right foot, or laying on my side, right hand to right foot behind me, please. Pull my ribs in, do not let my back arch. You have to pull your belly in, please. Again, it's just a little twist on something you're familiar with. If you don't want to do it tonight, tonight's not the night, no big deal. You jot it down in your mental yoga pose library, and maybe it'll, on your own, you'll do it one time. All right, let's do our second side, yogis. A lot of times, most times, I'm gonna have you use weight to stretch like this, kind of like this. All right, the goal is to bend your knee, which means bringing your heel to your butt. Here, you're not gonna arch your back as much, because we start upright. With my hip extended, femur bone behind me, I'm more likely to arch my back. So I have to really be disciplined about pulling my belly in. So let's do our second side of your choice. Either way, you're trying to pull your heel to your butt a little and push your pubic bone, hips forward in space. And eventually, you know, this type of stretching does go further. In a sense, we would put the previous two stretches together with a strap. I haven't taught that, you know, that's starting to get into some really crazy variations of stretching. Not necessarily, but, you know, in case you are interested, we're not going to do it, but for your own, you know, just kind of learning, you know, eventually we do it, you know, something like this, you know, where I'm going like this, maybe. We also do it where we're kind of like here. Okay. We also do it like this. But, you know, you can see why we don't do that here. That would be like advanced stretching. Let's get out of there, guys. I got to get you to roll on your back. Let's slowly kind of make our way. Take a few of these. You might feel good to just go like this or like this, kind of this. Nice job. All those hips, all those leg stretches are done. Let's make our way up. And I do want you to do a little spinal movement. You've been laying on your back for a while. There might have been some tension and strain. I'll demonstrate. Think spinal movement, okay? I want you to cross your right shin in front of your left eventually. And just like the beginning, we did a little bit of spinal movements. I want you to kind of free up the body. Remember the idea after you're doing a lot of static stretching, there can be a lot of tension building. So we just want to kind of think, let's loosen up here now. See this big circle I'm doing from the core? I'm using my hands to support my body. A big idea in flexibility work is teaching our body movement or reminding it, let's say, okay? You're moving in a nice circle. I am going to focus a little bit more on the arms, a little bit more on the wrists and neck. So we're pretty much going to finish up class with a heavy dose of upper body now, okay? So make sure you circle the second direction. You can cross your opposite shin. If you did not, please do that now. So what's happening, this is called circumduction, yogis. It's basically the most complex movement for your spine. And if this is a spinal joint, it's kind of going like this. See how it's kind of corner, corner, corner. The rotation looks like this. Side bending looks like this. Forward back bending like this. Side bending like that. And then twisting, and now we're doing this with our spinal joints. You see how complex that is for the spinal joints? And this is a nice, safe way to do it, all right? Let's get out of there and come to our tabletop. I want one more good, big spinal movement, because even though we did some things, it wasn't this yet. Inhale, arch the back. Exhale, round the spine. You know it, cat-cow it. Some people call this one camel, right? Because you have that big hump in the back. In yoga, we call it the scared or angry cat. It's like a cat gets scared, they round that back, and their fur stands up on their back. So you're like, there you go. Yeah, we are intentionally arching our back. A lot of times I'll tell you to watch out for that. But it's a very different story when you're intentionally working into a range of motion of the body, okay? So here we are intentionally rounding and arching. What I often will say, don't let that happen. All right, let's keep going, guys. Just sit back on your heels. So I'm using this for our side body stretch. If you want to stand and do a bigger one, that's fine. You might want your blocks, okay? Just nice and simple. We're gonna bring that right arm up and over. And again, I said up first and then over. So the idea is to reach up, 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 and then over. From that height, then you bend. Okay, second side. It's a little compression of the ankles. We got a little something like that in earlier, but I want one big one here for those ankles. Don't forget to stretch your side body, yogis, especially if you're sitting in a desk a lot or just sitting in general. You gotta stretch out the side. That's your deepest lower back. You're gonna get those ribs, obliques, and lats all coming down to the lower back. That's really important to remember, okay? Get out of there, shake it out. Wrist stretch. These are my favorite wrist stretches. There's a lot of other good ones, but these are my go-tos. We do them regularly. Turn my hands out. Turn the fingers around to face your knees. See the crease of my elbow facing forward? Go ahead, lean a little back, lean a little forward. I live down the street from the fire station, so that's why you guys hear that so much. They always go this way to hit the main boulevard. Okay, listen guys, turn your fingers back forward and then turn your fingers inward. So now my hands went out to face the back first, face my knees, and now they turn inward. You see that? It's like my shoulder turns in and my elbow turns out more. Now to get this stretch, you have to rotate your arm externally. So watch me, it's very subtle. You see my arms? I'm actively trying to roll my arm outward so the crease of my elbow forward again. So a really nice stretch. What happens is we get a ulnar deviation stretch. So in a sense, you're kind of doing that. This outer wrist is being pulled away from the hand. So you're getting length through there. It's a common place of like compression, and especially if you're doing like push-ups and a lot of yoga, you're here a lot and you get this compression because we kind of lean to the outer hand. So you're here and by rotating, you're pulling this away. It's stuff, not easy to understand and can be confusing. Don't worry about it. No big deal if it's, you don't speak anatomical language. All right, now that's 2 wrist stretches. I want you to do one more for your feet. Toes tuck, arms behind you. Go ahead, squeeze your palms together, roll your shoulders back. We're getting into that chest. Big breath here, guys. As you can see, my arms are trying to straighten, my palms are squeezing together, and I'm really working on rolling my shoulders back. So from the front, you can't really see my arms. See that? Because I'm rolling them back. I'm using those muscles in my back to pull my whole arm back in space and around behind me. This one can sting a little. There can be a little pain involved. Anytime I have knots here, yogis, up here, trap, rhomboid, lower trap, I literally do this. I pulse into it, I activate it, and that normally will reduce that pain significantly, if not all the way. Get out of there. Nice job with the feet. I know that's a really tough one on the feet and the shoulders, so I'm working you right now, okay? We're gonna do one more wrist stretch, and then we're gonna stand up and do our neck and our final shoulders, okay? So this is the big one in the wrist stretch. It's the back of the wrist down, so we stretch more like, the outer or top wrist. So my first one came up from the palm through the flexors of the forearm. So let's call it like the inside or the front. And we went like that. Now we want to flip our palm up so the back of the hand lengthens away from, let's say, the back of the forearm. So I'm here. Okay, this is a big one. Maybe do one hand at a time. It's that same thing. Work on straightening the elbow more, rolling the crease of your elbow forward. So there's always what we do when we rotate there, not only do you get a better stretch, but you have torque support. Torque is rotational strength. So as we rotate, not only are we getting a better stretch, but you are engaging certain muscles to protect more. Engagement protects joints. Joints are not weight bearing by definition. Muscles, fascia, tendons, more so muscles though, right? So let's do our second side. Give it a little shake, give it a little wiggle, give a little of that in this. I'm a big fan. You guys know my other job is I'm a body worker, manual therapist. I go to people's houses. I mostly do medical deep tissue massage, release deep pain, but I do soft massage as well. But I'll do some days 4, 5, 6 hours of deep tissue massage, and my hands feel like they're going to explode and then fall off. So what do? First thing I do is run them under cold water for a long time. And then second, I'll go like this for a really long time, 5 minutes. And so much of the pain dissipates. It's crazy how well this works for achiness, okay? So remember that. Your hands hurt, cold therapy, and shaking it out. So you're going to finish up your wrist. Again, I suggest doing your tighter side a little bit more. No reason to stretch your open side.
You only get an hour to exercise a day. You got to do what you need, not no reason to do it the same or to stretch something, even a whole muscle group that is open.
So when you're done there, guys, shake it out, please. And we are gonna just kind of make our way to standing. If you want to go quick through a down dog, that might feel good. If you want to go quick to a forward fold, I'm just kind of giving you a suggestion. Surprisingly, we're not going to do those poses today. So just a quick mention of some crowd favorites. If you wanted to throw one of those in, child pose is always welcome, but I won't instruct that as well this evening. You know we do that most nights. So eventually we're going to meet in standing, and you might want to just kind of shake it out here. We're already coming to the end of class, right? Got about, what, maybe 10, 12 minutes left. 14 minutes left, okay. So think shoulders, a little bit more neck now. So arms, we came up the wrist, we did do some shoulders, not too much. This is shoulders. We did this earlier for movement. I want to do that isolated stretch to start. It's the opposite of this. My right arm goes across, my left forearm takes that. The acromion deltoid, it's this outer shoulder muscle. You have three big shoulder muscles. You have this one called anterior deltoid, posterior deltoid, the back one, and then the medial deltoid, or the acromion. It connects to the acromion. So it's a hard muscle to stretch, and really, you know, this is the best one for me. There are a couple other ones that some people like better, but straighten your right elbow, pull the right forearm across the chest, but then try to like engage a little and pull your right shoulder back. You feel it like kind of right here. That's the muscle that engages yogis when you pick up grocery bags. I live in a 3-floor townhouse, so we don't have an elevator. Everything that's downstairs, we get water delivery, spring water. So all of our 10 jugs we go through every week, 2 weeks. Okay, they come up 3 flights of stairs. So you pick those 40-pound jugs up and you walk up. What's sore? Right there, right there. Second side. And every time I go to the grocery store, I like to carry those baskets. I use that to get a workout in. Because, I have a client, she's a 71-year-old woman. I'm personally training her. There's some yoga, but it's a lot of more like weight training in a very light, healthy way. So what do? She has 2 10-pound star kettlebells. So she got them, and she picks them up, and then what do? We walk around her house. And I have her practice core stabilization, form, and then I'll have her bend down and pick them back up. But really the main thing is, it's just picking up weight and walking with it. That's going to stimulate muscular bone growth in the whole body. So when you go to the grocery store, carry your groceries if you can, for at least for a little while. And don't have somebody help you carry your groceries. You do it yourself, okay? People think I'm mean to my mom because I won't carry her groceries, but actually I'm helping her in a way, okay? Sometimes I help her. Second, get out of there. All right, so let's do this. Strap. So this next one is, we didn't do child pose or dog, so we want to get a little bit more under here. And then on the other arm, we're going to get into the front shoulder. Okay, we did this one as a warm-up. We're not going to do this one. So if you want, for a moment, do this. It's kind of like a warm-up. Some people say this is like one of the best ways to stretch your shoulders. It's the circumduction, it's a tension closed chain, so there's some strength, and it's bilateral. I don't like to label like that. So tough, like the best. There's a lot of good things, right? Depends on what you need. Let's do it. So it's called Gomukhasana in yoga, all right? It's a big way to stretch. If you can't do this, I would say just do something like this. Just don't arch your back. Hug that elbow in. You see how the elbow wants to stick out? Try to hug that elbow in. It's kind of like if you ever do yoga, that the elbows hug in chaturanga, or forearm plank, we're trying to work the elbows in, or down dog, elbows in, same thing, you're here. Now, if you want it, take the strap with the right hand, same thing, but my left hand's gonna go wide, palm face the back, and grab my strap here. Now look at that, my elbows wanna do this, right? Watch. Both elbows in. and I walk my hands to my strap more. Nice deep breathing. Abdomen, ribs, chest. In advanced stretching classes, actually, it's intermediate. I've taught this before. We would create more stretch, like say it's easy, you don't feel much upright, you bend your knees with your feet wide and go forward. You're most likely gonna feel that a lot more in your bottom arm. That is optional, not necessary, but I wanna mention it to remind you. Last 2 to 3 breaths on the side. Please take your time, yogis. Come up slowly and release your arms. I don't want you to hold that one too long. Give it a little release like this. Shake your arms out.
And you could start by throwing your second arm up. Can't do this. 2 more weeks.
So it just starts like that. And that you're gonna notice you're gonna get a little bit more of that back arm. It's called your tricep. Commonly pretty tight on people because our arms are always here, down by side, kind of like this. Keeps it stuck long, right? So it'll hurt. Right arm goes wide, palm face behind, shirt, strap, hands, elbows in, okay? And I'm trying to give you about a minute total in the posture, in staying upright or widening your feet, starting to forward fold. Don't forget to bend your knees, yogis. We lost power here the other night, and then now every clock in the house is, they all used to be about 2 minutes ahead, and now they're all like behind or way ahead. So I gotta keep checking my clock here, my phone, to know the real time. So let's shake it out, guys. You're done there. So we did arm here, we did arm back here, stretching early with straps. We did do stuff like this. We're pretty much done with arms. I want to give a good dose to the neck, but before we go up into the neck, there's this muscle that kind of bridges the gap between your neck and, it is your neck, but your shoulders and your neck. It's called the traps. So sometimes people will lift weights, like, I mentioned it earlier, when you pick stuff up, those muscles right there, just go like this, up and down. I'm just kind of get you a little movement after that big stuck stretch. Come like this. It's a common exercise. People will like pick up weights in the gym and they'll go like, they want to build this muscle big, but yet they don't ever like loosen it up. Okay. Now, and then just draw a quick circle. Last thing here. Ideally this would be one we do every class, the scapular flossing it's called. It's the same reason why a lot of people think this is so good. And this is so good. Because they're both like the most complex range that, let's say, cover the most ground or the most functional way. The body never really works in like an isolated range, right? So our final thing tonight is gonna be ending with the neck. So don't be shy if you wanna like shake it out between. I'm gonna start with some neck movements, just a couple, and then we'll do a couple stretches, all right? So our first movement is just isolated cat-cow. We did a little tonight, tuck the chin, pause, and then lift the chin. Tuck the chin. And now listen, guys, I want you to lift that chin, but I want you to think reaching your jaw forward. Lifting the jaw up. I mentioned this idea of mouth breathing, creating structure, bone structure, fascial structure of the face. People who become like mouth breathers, their jaw comes actually back in space. Their forehead actually goes back in space too, and their nose protrudes more forward. So your face, your jaw structure, and your forehead structure really change via mouth breathing. Okay, so neutralize your head. So what I was asking you to do is this. See that? Is that an underbite? Trying to have you push into an underbite, and then lift your chin up.
a lot of muscles here that are controlling, and over time, just like repetitive postural patterns will make you like this, it'll, weak muscles all throughout here, will cause our jaw to like come back and down, and it's not really ideal for your health. Okay, so let's get out of there. I do want to do one more there for the neck. The front of the neck, a little extra focus there. Now we're going to use a traction. So our hands are going to pull tissue down as we go upward. So it's the same thing. I lift my chin up and then maybe push my jaw a little forward and up. But at the same time now, my palms, they kind of push into the skin, the light tissue of the chest and maybe the lowest part of your neck near your collarbones. And I push my chin up and forward as I pull my chest tissue down. That's a fascial traction. I told you I'm a body worker. I use traction like a madman. Any scar tissue, double traction, hold, hold, hold. And then it's like deep compression and fascial manipulation and tractions all around, hitting those neurovascular bundles, hitting those deep fascial webbing areas. So this is a way we double traction ourselves here. Get out of there. Next little movement here is I look over the right shoulder and then the left shoulder. That's it. Pretend you're sitting at a big dinner table and you're talking to someone next to you on both sides. And then you look left at them, then you look right at them. You're not moving your body now. You're just moving with your head. That was not a good metaphor, but you get the point. So get out of there. We did tip twisting, forward and back's done. A little bit different tonight. Our final neck movements. I'm not going to do the rotation tonight. We do that more often than not. It's a little bit different. I want you to look like down to the right. So my chin goes to like the front of my right shoulder. Watch. My chin goes up to the left. Don't be easy though, okay? I do more range so you can clearly see it. If I were to do like this, you wouldn't be able to tell exactly what I'm doing, which you might do. I go like this, down to the right, up to the left. Down to the right, up to the left. Don't obsess with how up you look. It's slightly up. I'm looking like up here, not like up at the stars, okay? This is another one I wish we did more. It is a really fantastic, but if you have to do one regularly, same principles, the shoulders, the scapula, the neck circle is hard to beat, okay? Second side, down to the left, up to the right. Down to the left, up to the right. Last few. And this is basically gonna be our last thing, guys. We've pretty much covered the whole body anyway. I don't want you to get too flexible now because you gotta maintain your strength. If you're not strengthening enough, I am gonna do gentle yoga this Wednesday. So I miss having a second gentle yoga during the week. So this Wednesday, check your email. We're gonna have gentle yoga in the evening. And we're gonna focus gentle yoga on Wednesday. It's nice therapeutic, gentle strengtheners. We still will do some release, but a little extra gentle strengthening on Wednesday evening, okay? To kind of contrast this class. Last part here, final neck pose, right ear, right shoulder. It is a side stretch. So I'm here. Notice my head is not forward, my head is not back. It is just dropping down right ear, right shoulder. If you want a little bit more, you go here or here. We've done them both. This tends to be considered a more risky and dangerous type of neck stretch. Okay, now I don't want you to hold it too long. Come back to center. And it's only risky because you're always looking down and up. You're always looking left and right. But our head isn't really doing this that much. These are more stabilizing muscles than phasic moving muscles. All right, so more tonic as opposed to phasic, where those other actions I mentioned are used in a different way.
So we're doing our second side. So you're done with your neck. If you want to just kind of shake it out, okay, if you want to do an arm circle or a leg lift, how about one last little movement here to shake your body out? We usually do it on the back in the end of class. We're just going to make, I do want to end with, you know, some of the main classic Buddhist training is like, if you want to meditate, you do 1 minute a day. I like to remind you guys that if you can meditate for 1 minute a day for, let's say, 30, 60, 90, 365 days in a row, you have a very, very consistent meditation practice. You don't have to tell, it doesn't matter that's a minute. It's consistency that is the changer. So let's sit if you're up for it, or lay. Let's close our eyes. Let's relax for a minute or two to seal in our practice. What can happen, guys, is you're really focused on your big, gross body, the big bones, the big muscles. Now I want you to just slow down and just for a few moments connect to your subtle body. The bridge is the breath is part of the subtle body, but it's kind of more like the bridge to the subtle body. Subtle body is a little bit more like energy, pulsing, fluids moving, and even further, you know, the electric of the body, the magnetism of the body. You know, there's a lot of light stored in the body. That's the subtle body, your thoughts, even your emotions. So connect to those more subtle parts of yourself. Take another minute or two.